I watched it over and over again because I thought my eyes was tricking me.
Michelle Simpson describes surveillance video that was recorded inside Hopewell's Harry James Elementary School.
That's when I got infuriated.
Footage that she says shows her 8-year-old son being assaulted by a teacher's assistant. It happened August 11th, 2022. As noted in a police incident report, the video appears to show the child backing away when Kevin Johnson strikes him with his hand on the side of his head. The boy then runs away as Johnson chases with a cane. Another angle appears to show Johnson catching up to the boy, grabbing his neck and jerking him, which appears to cause the child's head to strike the wall.
And then my body went against the wall, and he took his hand and hit my head against it.
Johnson, also a former Hopewell police officer, is then seen walking the student down the hall with his hand on the child's neck.
And I couldn't fight back because he was squeezing. I was trying to get his hand off.
According to the school's restraint report, before the alleged assault, the boy, who was under a behavior intervention plan at the time, antagonized another student in a classroom. That prompted a counselor to tell the child to go to the counseling room. The student complied with the order, but then came into contact with Johnson in the hallway before he reached the counseling room. After the incident, the boy was seen by a nurse for neck pain. There were no marks. The school's principal determined that Johnson's physical restraint of the child was unsanctioned and that no student behaviors justified Johnson's actions, including to prevent a student from harm. Hopewell police got involved 24 hours later after the principal reported the incident to Child Protective Services. A detective spent several days reviewing evidence and told the child's mother that they wanted to arrest Johnson. Simpson shared with us her interview with the police. Take a listen.
We want to take out charges.
Right.
However, the CA's office also has to look at the case, and they agree to prosecute.
The report ultimately states that police, the deputy Commonwealth's attorney, and a magistrate all decided there was probable cause. And on August 23rd, 2022, Johnson was charged with misdemeanor assault.
I think the video kind of speaks for itself.
CBS 6 legal analyst Todd Stone viewed the footage, and he agrees that sufficient evidence exists.
What I see is a slap of the student, and then the student ran after that. So that's the sort of thing that would normally go before a judge and have a judge decide.
But that never happened. 2 months after the incident, Simpson received a surprising update from the detective.
He tells me it's been all pressed, and he was just as in shock as I was.
Hopewell's top prosecutor had decided to essentially drop the charge. Now, I came here to the Hopewell courthouse to try and speak with Commonwealth's attorney Rick Newman about this case. Inside of his office, he told me that this was not a story and that he does not have to explain himself to me. But I did obtain this email thread from May 2023, months after the fact, where Newman says his former chief deputy authorized the charge too soon, as in the very next day, though police records show he authorized the charge 12 days later. Newman says that part of his decision was based off the school and Child Protective Services determining that there was no finding of child abuse or criminal conduct, but Stone says that's not their job.
CPS and school don't do criminal investigations, and they don't make criminal findings.
A Hopewell Social Services report also showed that CPS determined there was not a preponderance of evidence to show that Johnson purposely caused the boy to hit his head.
Trying to find whether there's child abuse under CPS definitions or whether or not something's justified under a school, conduct code. That's different than a criminal case.
In his email, Newman writes he did not believe Johnson had intent to assault the child, rather protect him. And if Simpson disagrees, she can try to take out the charge again through a magistrate, and he would appoint a special prosecutor to the case.
Why didn't you do that in the beginning?
Despite feeling defeated by the process, Simpson took Newman's advice and went back before a magistrate this month, and they reauthorized an assault charge against Johnson. More than 1 year later, Simpson says she just wants her day in court.
How am I supposed to trust the justice system here?
Hopewell City Schools says Johnson never returned to Harry James Elementary after the day of the incident, and he officially separated from the division in December. Now, I asked Johnson for a response to the charge against him, and he says since this case is active and involves a child, it would be inappropriate for him to comment. We also asked Newman if he plans to request a special prosecutor for this case, like he said in that email, but we have not heard back. In the studio, I'm Tyler Layne, CBS 6 News.